Welcome to the round table.
We're actually starting? Wait, hold on, for real though, because you said that he edits it.
We're going.
He edits
Welcome
it.
to the round table. I am Jennifer Eller, and with me today is my partners in crime, Mike Hill,
Partners.
Nick
co-hosts
Wilson,
anymore.
and our guest producer is Dan the Smelser. Wave,
Dan, Big Dan.
Yay, Dan!
And our guest today is Jenny Walker.
The infamous.
What's up?
The infamous Jenny Walker.
Yes.
Yep. So if you're new to the round table, Jenny was the co-host prior to me coming on here. So how many years did you, year and a half, 2 years?
2. It was 2, yeah.
A long time.
Because I came on the third episode.
What? Yeah, I was going to say it wasn't long. Like you came on as a guest. And
Yeah, and then I
you
stayed.
Need to stay.
Yeah. I wasn't leaving after that.
It's like having the color commentator. We needed you to add some color to the podcast.
It was very colorful then.
For sure. Yeah. So we thought we'd just kind of like catch up a little bit with some of the things. And so I was trying to think back on the podcast. What are some things that you like talked about?
Yeah. Are these the questions that you have for me?
Just kind of. So
I'm excited.
So how are Grayson and Roman and your dogs?
I'm sure everybody is invested. That is a very good question. They are just doing great. Actually, I just had to get a tick off of Roman's head yesterday.
Oh my.
So it is tick season for all the dog people already.
Good to know.
You know how much I care about your dogs. So I'm over here
I know, but I
I'm
just love that you asked
super
that.
interested in
Some people
dogs.
are, though. Some people
I know.
are.
Like half the
They are. I thought about bringing
half the
them.
listeners. No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
You could have.
But he
Norman
wouldn't have
was-
done very good.
Norman was on the other day.
He
with Luke,
was?
and he just laid here and slept the whole time.
Yeah, but her dog won't do
That's
that.
okay. They can
Yeah,
roam in and out.
Roman wouldn't. Not anymore.
Yeah.
Was that seriously one of the questions that you had for me?
Yeah, I
Okay.
So then you talked about like dating life and your like question book. Mike was telling me. Like,
Oh,
a
yeah.
question book. So,
Yeah.
So I don't think you're dating anybody right now. Are you
Not-
talking to anybody?
No.
Or what's your love life look like? Because I think people.
It
wanna
looks
know that.
like
Everybody wants to know Jenny's love life.
it looks like nothing. Like non-vacant or not. It's not happening.
Nothing.
Nothing.
No, like, what's the latest dating app you've been on?
Actually, I haven't been on a dating app in a really long time.
Oh.
Since I left here, I like pretty much wasn't doing anything on my phone. So like any apps or anything, like I just like became completely unglued from it or tried to.
Okay.
So no, I haven't been on a dating app in the longest time.
Wow.
And I'm totally okay with it. I've just come to the realization that, you know, I just might, because I want a corgi and I want a bunny and I want a Himalayan cat. So like I want all these things. So I just might, instead of the crazy cat lady, I just might be the crazy like animal lady.
Wow.
And I'm totally okay with it.
Okay.
For right now.
Yeah.
Just in this season. I feel like I'm just in a weird season of like, I don't know.
A weird season of
Just
loving
like-
cats and more than people.
No.
Oh.
No, not cats, maybe dogs.
Okay.
No, I don't know. Just like, I don't know, like decompressing, I guess. I really don't know.
And how's the decompressing going?
Great.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
You feel better?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. It's still, I don't know. Like I do feel a lot better, but I don't know.
Well, you never really answered the question about the dating book.
Oh yeah, what was the question?
Remember, you had this book that, like, you go on a date.
Yeah,
and
no,
you'd, like, ask question number 32, and how that used to be like an integral part of our podcast.
I thought it was
yeah.
more like a book that you would talk about or you would journal about dating or something, but then he corrected me.
No, it was
so-
like a book of questions.
Okay, I didn't.
So
really
we would
remember.
like
I
go
just
through
knew.
and flip it, and then somebody would say stop, and then I would just like close my eyes and pick one.
Got it.
Yeah. And then
So it was
she'd
just,
ask
like,
a
multiple
question, and then we would
questions.
try to answer how
Oh, you would?
how
Okay.
we would
Yeah.
react
Oh, my
to
gosh.
whatever the question was.
Yeah.
That's funny. If I would have known that, I would have had to bring it, but I didn't
I
know
know.
that was
I
it.
don't actually
doesn't
don't know where it is.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, but first of all, you had a gift that you were supposed to bring on about questions, and I never saw it. He has a whole gift from somebody.
He does not remember to bring anything
I
to
know,
anybody. He's had
I
someone that
know.
has asked him for a year, over
Oh,
a year
to
for
bring
something.
a crucifix
Did you
back.
do that yet?
No.
See, yeah. So no,
Yeah.
he
I
Got
doesn't
it
remember
out.
nothing.
I made it out of my closet
That's what you said.
onto
That's
the
what
end
matters.
table to get back to Homer. I just
Step
ain't
one
got
done.
from,
Step one
I know,
is done.
like it moves. The crucifix has moved a little bit.
When you get home tonight, just go put it in your car.
Yeah, that's
Or just
a
go
good
You know
drive
what's
it
gonna
to
happen?
him.
Hey, you know what happens
Can't
when
live
things
that
end up
far
my
from you.
Wait, you know what happens when
What?
things end up in my car?
Yeah.
Susan Heupel brought Isaac's wedding gift. So how long's Isaac been married?
Okay, that was August 13th, I think, of last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So his wedding gift was still in my car. Yesterday, or a month, I don't know.
Like in the back or
yeah,
where?
just rides around in the back.
Just rides around.
And I keep telling I first of all, I told Susan, like, don't put it in the abyss.
It's gonna get
It'll
lost.
be in the abyss and it'll never get out. I just know how this works. And she's like, no, you see Isaac every day, which is true. But Isaac
Yeah, but you're
forgot
not
to get it
thinking.
out. I didn't give it to him. So now I cleaned the car out. So now Isaac's wedding gift from Susan Heupel is now sitting in the garage of my house.
There you
Still
go.
with the little wrappy crap in it and the card
Okay,
and everything.
Put it back in your car.
No,
and I'll
that
get it-
sounds dangerous.
No, I'll get it tomorrow, and I'll give it to Emma, and
there you
she
go.
can take it
So
to the farm.
here's what I said. I said, you know how much fun it is to wait a whole year? It's like
Yeah.
wedding gifts all over again.
That sounds like
the
a great
funny
idea.
things that you find inside of your car.
What if it was like
It's like,
food
hey,
in
it's
there?
all over again. You get the whole
Oh,
wedding
my
gift.
gosh.
Susan just came. I'll just blame it on Susan.
It's all her
Susan,
fault.
It was.
You
she
told
got
her
it-
not to.
Susan got it to you late, Isaac. I don't know what she was thinking. She loves you, but she forgot all about your wedding. So
She
the
did.
other day,
Yeah.
she, got the gift and.
Oh,
Wow.
my gosh.
Yeah, so no, there are lots of things that end up in the abyss.
Yeah.
What about
That's
your
just-
car? Is your car?
Oh, Judas, she's an Eller. Are you crazy?
Wait, what does that mean? That there's nothing in there? I think I've peeked in there before.
No, there's some stuff in there.
Like a lot?
No, well, I have, Emma used to have, she has Noble workout shoes,
Mm-hmm.
and she was trying to sell them online. They're like $160 like shoes, and she
Noble?
couldn't. And so she wanted to take them to Love and Donate, and so I pulled them out because I'm like, I'm going to try to sell those, even for $25 or something like
Yeah.
that. Those are in there, and then a friend of hers got a Bible for graduation, and she didn't want it, and she gave it to me, and I'm like, well, we're not giving that away. And so I actually want to pray over the Bible for
Aw.
that lives should change. And so I keep driving around with all this stuff in my
There's not
car.
much in there.
Have you ever
Not
been invited
much,
to the
but-
Ellers?
No.
Okay, if they ever invite you to their house,
If they ever invite me,
they ever
now I
invite
have
you
to say
over,
Mike.
if they ever invite you over, make
Why?
sure you go through the garage and look at Eric's garage.
Is it his,
And then
like, is it his man
question,
cave?
The question of whether or not anything's out of place in their lives will be answered.
so he's like OCD.
You need to come to our office because a lot of things are down at our office now, our business.
Oh.
And so if you look down there, it's like there's
it's organized.
Oh yeah, there's
Oh,
things
I
are
would
hung
love
up.
it.
There is metal cabinets, and I had to make magnet things that say
Yes.
what's on it, hats and bottles and nuts and bolts
Sticky
and this and
notes.
that. Yeah, they're laminated.
So he
on,
loves
like,
office supply,
he-
or what is it? No, wait,
No,
what's
he
that
just
place?
loves to be-
Staples.
He loves to be
Staples.
organized. And I'm like,
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
yeah. I've said this before, but the first time we met the Ellers, when we went over there to eat supper, I was commenting on how awesome their lawn looks. And so Eric gets up, walks back with a 3-fold binder that's
What?
like 6 inches thick.
What?
And pulls it out and shows
What?
all of his soil types and
Soil samples
fertilizer.
the yard and the
blah,
Just
garden.
blah,
because you
and I'm
commented
like,
on his grass.
Sherry, don't get your expectations too high.
Wow.
Because I ain't going to be Eric Keller.
Oh
that's
my
for sure.
gosh.
Yeah. So
Like the front yard? This was the front yard you were.
Their yard is
It's
just.
just we have like an acre. And so he stripes it. It's beautiful. He puts a lot of time. Our yard is beautiful and it's soft and you can walk barefoot. I mean, it's
Because of the
nice.
soil.
Because he's taking care of it and make sure.
Yeah, and the rest of us are losers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Apparently.
jokes used to be a big thing too. So you have any new jokes? I guess you used to write them on your hand.
I
Is
did,
that right?
I
So, okay.
did.
So give us a joke.
You would ask that. No, actually, I had a really, really good one. Well, I didn't, but my niece did. It was really funny, and I was trying to remember it the other day, but I couldn't, so I'm not going to be able to now.
Okay. Well, if you think about it,
I will.
give us.
It's
joke.
a really good one, though. It was really funny. It was a good one, I'll think.
Okay.
I will try.
If not,
I did. Oh, no, I did want to say this before I forget, though. If anybody is trying to reach out to me, I changed my phone number. Well, I didn't.
did.
Verizon did.
Yeah.
Verizon changed my phone number
That's
without
why you
telling
haven't
me.
been texting me back?
You've been texting me?
Yes.
He never texts anybody. What? Were your feelings hurt? Right. Like, I'm glad we had this conversation because I don't want people to think that.
Nobody? I don't text anybody?
No.
Not
really. No.
I've been sending you encouraging messages saying I love you and miss you. And
you just thought I was standing you.
I just knew what you were really doing. Because you never text back either.
That's not true.
Hey, what?
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Nick.
I will tell you, because I was kept reaching out to her too. And and so I thought she was mad at me. And then I ran into her outside when I came back one day. And I thought, okay, guess I'll go talk to Jenny. And then she said she had a new phone number. So then I'm thinking she's mad and doesn't want to talk to me. But then I started texting her and she texted right back. So
boom.
Just telling you. We'll get you her new number. Okay.
Well, actually, I just did that because I felt bad.
Right. Yeah. Do you want to go ahead and give your number out?
No.
You might get a date out of it.
I mean, I like the peace and quiet. Okay. You know, like for a minute, because Verizon had changed my number without telling me, by the way, because I had AT&T and then I changed it. But anyways, when a week goes on and I didn't know that my number was changed. But anyways, what was I saying before that? I can't remember. Dang it. Oh yeah, I didn't receive a phone call for a month straight because my line wasn't connected.
Wow.
So it was the best.
You know, these are always the funny things of we used to get into this all the time, just really quick. How is it possible that you switched phone companies and you didn't know that you got a new number?
No, they did.
Who's they?
Verizon.
What?
They literally changed my number without telling me.
That's what they do. They're phone companies.
I went
You know, when you get a new phone, they give you phone numbers.
I went in to transfer my number.
Yeah, and they said it wasn't available.
No. They never told me it wasn't available. So I had called them multiple times, and it just, I don't know, it was like the worst month experience through a phone company.
Okay.
Ask around, people will tell you. They were in it too.
I've just never heard of anybody getting a phone number that they didn't say, Jenny, here's your phone number.
No,
it's
that's
actually not the same as it was before.
That's what the lady said. She said, well, surely we should have sent you an email, and they never did. She found it. They never did.
Okay.
Wow. So, yep, it really happened.
Yeah, we just always dig into that. I was telling Jennifer when you used to think Florida was the capital for tornadoes.
Or Georgia.
How we always do fact checks.
Yeah.
We got to do some fact checking with Jenny.
Georgia.
It's always semi-true.
Yeah.
Most of the things you say are semi-true.
I will admit that.
But you have a great heart, and so we love you.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Well, I didn't mean it in a bad way.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. No, I mean on the real things, it's all true, but on some of these other things, it's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, no.
Like on real life things, it's always true.
Yeah, I'm not very good with my facts, but I am very confident in them.
Yeah.
I will not be wrong.
Yeah, I know that's what was best about it, because when we would say that's just not true.
I was so sure.
Like, no, I'm confident. Google said.
No, I'm still sure about the tornadoes or the tornadoes in Florida.
Yeah.
The weather app would not lie to me.
No, I agree. I would agree.
Okay.
I have learned to just agree with you.
Thank you.
This is Jennifer. This is why we don't get into it anymore. We don't have the banner, because I'm just like, you're right, Jenny. You're absolutely right.
It makes me feel really good. Mm-hmm. It does.
Yeah. So I wanted to bring you on really to share your story, because I didn't feel like people had really heard a lot of your story. I think bits and pieces and stuff. And so thought it would be good for, people to see that you're okay.
Yeah, I'm alive.
A lot of questions.
Yeah.
Nobody would know that comes to church, though, because they probably haven't seen her in a while.
Like 2 weeks ago.
Huh?
When?
2 weeks ago. I was working at the cafe.
Well, did you come into service?
No.
Okay, then you really weren't at church. You were in the building.
Jenny, everybody's
But I had to do something.
What you have to do. And then Sunday until noon, don't do anything. 12:30, don't do anything.
Jenny, we only say this because everybody loves you and misses you.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
What does that look for?
No idea.
It's nice to be missed. I don't know. I guess.
You just don't feel the need for church anymore.
No, it's not. I don't. No, it's not that. No, it's not that. I mean, like I said before, I just gotten out of the habit of it. But when you say that, people miss me and miss seeing me, that's not hard to believe. But, I don't know if it is, coming from my, own background. It is hard to not accept. But I don't see that or feel it.
You know what I heard from somebody the other day?
What?
They were talking about, and maybe it was on here. Oh, I think it was Shane. Like when he was talking about his past, he was like, sometimes it's hard to know that you're loved because of his past. Like having the feeling of like, wow, people really do love me. People really do miss you.
Right.
And they've been texting you for a month. They've been trying. There've been a congregation of people been like, Jenny, we love you, miss you. And they've been getting no response back.
I know. Yeah. That's why I was really paranoid at first, because I didn't want people to think like I was mad at them or
that
whatever.
You were ghosting them.
Huh?
That you were ghosting them.
I was roasting them too. Ghosting them, roasting them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your story, Jenny.
My story. Well, where do you want me to start? From the beginning?
Yeah, because I asked you yesterday. I'm like, was church part of your childhood? You said it was. And then so you grew up in church. High school. It was high school, and I remember you like went to a party, and that's kind of where everything like started to fall apart. So I don't know if you want to kind of start there.
Yeah. So I think like when we did it the last time, the first time that I was a guest on and then became permanent, I think I shared a little bit then, but I'll share more about it now. So when I was 16, I had went to a party with, I think I just turned 16 because I just got my license, but I went to a party at this time in my life. Like, I probably had only went to a few parties at this point. So I wasn't really drinking per se, but I was like tiptoeing on that line. Like, I don't think anything, like, I don't know why I started drinking at that point. Like, there wasn't anything that necessarily happened to make me start drinking, but it did later on, like this, what I'm about to say. So when I went to this party, it was a bonfire, and it was what I didn't know. It was only a group of guys. So, I mean, I was a sophomore at that time. So like seniors and freshmen at college, but there are a good amount of people out there. But I was so naive, and so, I don't know, I just didn't think anything like bad could happen to me. Really, I was mostly just naive. But I went, and the guy who handed me the drink that had the date rape drug in there was my brother's best friend's little brother. So it was like, well, you know, I never even thought of anything of it. Like, I wouldn't have ever thought that it was drugged or anything, but I took it, and then, I don't remember what happened. All I remember are like the after effects and a little bit in between. And the only thing that like I really remember from that night, and like the thing that I have such a hard time with, and I had such a hard time with like later on down in life, like going through addiction, like figuring out why I did stuff. Because that's what they try to figure out when you have addiction, like what made you be that way. But for the longest time, I always thought that it was like I did it, like I went, I made myself, like I was the problem, you know? I never saw it as bad as what it was. Because, I mean, the after effects, I went to school, and I was a cheerleader, and there were like videos. This was during the time when like videos on cell phones and pictures like going around the school. That was like the cool thing, because cell phones were just around then. So there was a bunch of stuff going around from that night, and people were talking about it. People would say things to me in the hallway when I'd walk past them. It got so bad that one time at a football game, it was in the pit. I don't know if you're familiar with the pit, how they dress up. Well, we had like a Hawaiian night. So they were throwing around beach balls, and one of the beach balls like landed down at me because that's what they wanted. But somebody looked on the beach ball, and they were like, Jenny, don't look. And of course I looked, because that's just me. And it said, Walker is a slut. And like, I looked up, and I saw the guy that was doing it, and he was laughing. But it was just moments like that was in high school. So I don't know, like I always knew that might have happened, like, because I mean, I had the proof of like the videos and stuff like that, but because I wasn't like mentally there because I was drugged, it's hard for me to like, what is that when you completely like disassociate yourself? Like, that's what I've done. Like, I've been able to completely remove myself from that situation. Like, it didn't happen to me. It happened to somebody else. And yeah, so for the longest time, I just, I guess I didn't think I had a problem or I didn't have a reason to use or anything. But I don't know where you want me to go.
Well, when did that
from there.
process even start? So you're in high school, you essentially get raped.
Yeah.
Which I will never understand this in all of my life. You want to talk about the depravity of man?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The idea that essentially somebody would slip a woman a drug and rape essentially a asleep woman.
Yeah.
What in God's green earth is going on in a man's mind that think that there is any other than just absolute sexual depravity?
Right. But
to
imagine
think that that's okay.
Yeah, like just one man, but think about like multiple, like there were like 10 or 12 guys there, and I don't know who partaked or what, I just know a bunch of them did. So it's like not one of them said that this is wrong, like we should stop, you know?
That's my point.
Yeah,
You want to talk
like,
about
that's so
Sodom and
crazy.
Gomorrah depravity, and
Yeah.
it's not just, this is Huntington, Indiana. I mean, just think about how bad that is.
Oh,
you
I know.
And that, yeah. I mean, if that just shows you the evil,
Yes.
that can happen, that is happening, and then to turn around and put it on you, right? So then after that happens, like, do you start dabbling in drugs? Like, I don't even know if you've ever shared how you started doing drugs.
So I mean, at the time, like I was saying, how I didn't know, or I guess I didn't really think that it was that big of a deal. Like I always told myself that, but my actions were showing otherwise. So I continued drinking more heavily than I was. And my grandma died shortly after that incident, because that happened the day before Mother's Day. And then my grandma passed away. So then just a bunch of feelings, I guess, came out. I'd never experienced anyone dying at that point, and she was somebody really close to me and close to the family. I mean, she held the complete family together. Like, we're not the same since she passed away. And I guess I just I don't know, I guess just everybody saying stuff at school, it just made me want to use more. The girls saying stuff, I mean, that's when I started. I mean, I was drinking a lot, yeah, but I also started with my eating disorders in high school too. So a lot of it stemmed from, I think, because I was like not on display, but like I was, like people could see me, you know, all the time. Like I just felt like people were talking about it, like talking about my body. They would tell me I was fat and ugly, and people with eating disorders, generally it stems from like rape, pretty much all of them. For that. But yeah, so I dealt with that for a while, pretty much in high school. Like I never really did drugs in high school.
Did anybody know, like, what you were going through?
I mean, like sort of to an extent. Like my parents, no, not at all, because I hid everything from them. But like people in my life, like maybe some of their families, like my friends, some of them knew, but I don't think they knew the extent of the reason why. They knew like that I was drinking a lot and I was a really big partier, and like the eating disorder, some people knew, but they didn't know like what caused it.
Yeah. The extent of what you were going through.
And I don't think at that time, like really, especially as much as it is now, people didn't really connect the dots of like drinking a ton, addiction with a traumatic event. Like now, because we've gotten so much more, I mean, there's so many like fentanyl and all that going around. Like addiction is in everybody's face right now. I mean, we all know at least one person that struggles with it. And I don't think it was just people didn't know to ask those questions or to relate it, I think then. I think everybody was still naive about it. So.
Well, I mean, I could be wrong, but I think this is the naive part, that even today, that partying on a level of getting drunk on a regular basis, like, doesn't always have to be attributed to a traumatic event, but there is something wrong with you.
Yeah.
If you're choosing to get drunk on a regular basis. Like I think about, like, what would be the reason, like we talked about, was it 2 weeks ago, where I said I'm like drunk every Friday, Saturday, Sunday when I was a freshman.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's just because you choose to want to get so drunk and throw up every weekend.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's something in you
Stemming.
that you are dealing with, and it might not be that you were raped or that something terrible has happened, but if you're making those kinds of decisions, like, you don't party like that just because.
Yeah, because who wants to go throw up? It's like, that's not a fun thing. So yeah, what makes you that you're okay that's the outcome that you're gonna have to deal with,
Right.
or the hangover, or
Right.
or whatnot? Because it's not fun when you start coming out of.
Right, but
You're
I think
searching for
like
something.
what Jenny's saying is that it's just an accepted behavior. Like, it's just you're sowing your wild oats, right?
Yeah.
Everybody goes out and gets hammered.
Yeah.
Everybody does these things. It's not attributed to anything other than you're just a kid, right? And I
Right.
think that's, last week I was having some conversation with some parents who got some kids, and I'm like, maybe one of the things we should be better at is having deeper discussions with our kids. Like,
Yeah.
that instead of it just showing, hey, they're kids, so they're out smoking dope every weekend, they'll grow out of it. Or they're getting drunk every weekend and they'll grow out of it. I'm like, maybe there is something else there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes. Yeah.
have you created the atmosphere to be able to have the conversation?
Right.
To be able to have, like, yeah, man, this is what I'm dealing with. This is why these things are happening.
That would be so helpful for that person, and especially like for me too, because my parents and I were really close at that time. I mean, my mom took me everywhere. I had a bunch of gymnastics classes, and so we were always together. And I mean, she knew to a certain extent all of my life, but nobody sat down and like asked me if you're okay. Like,
What's broken?
Yeah, like what's going on.
Broken. Yeah.
Because you're right. It's not necessarily like a huge trauma, but I mean, since we're all different people, we all experience different kinds of trauma. So, I mean, it could be just something really little about what somebody said, I don't know, when you're younger, and you could be wanting to go and get drunk every weekend.
Well, I think the question is, what's the difference between a friendship and a deep friendship? Because I think a lot of times as parents, we want to be friends with our kids and we want them to be able to hang out. And we feel close, right? But can you have an in-depth, hard conversation? Like, I think that's different. Like, and I think that's intentional. I think you, as a parent, have to create environments for those harder conversations. They're not just going to come up. Like, we can't just expect our kids to be like,
the kids are
Mom,
definitely not going to.
last weekend I got roofied and raped. I mean,
Right.
Like, you want to talk through this? Like, that's just not the way it works. You have to create an environment where you're used to talking about something more in depth than just, hey, we were at gymnastics class, good cartwheel. Or back bend or round off or whatever.
Back bend.
That's not a thing.
I mean, it is, but
Okay.
I was way above that.
You see what I'm saying?
I do.
Something bigger than like, hey, this is just what happened and sit around the
Yeah.
table. Like, you got to create an environment.
Sports.
Like, tell me about what's going on in your heart.
Right.
Like, what's happening? So.
Yeah, it was mostly like what you say to everybody is like, we're more focused on sports and school but not what's going on inside. Because there's a lot that could be going on inside of anybody that is going to school.
Yeah. And I think that's something we're going to have to get better at.
Yeah.
Like, I think we might have said this before, but I think we seek out stereotypically people that we think need help
Yeah.
because of their environment. Like, you look at their family, like, that person's going to need help. Or you look at the kid and you're like, that person is going to need help. I think we're seeing more something that on the surface looks completely healthy and we do nothing about it.
Yeah.
Because they're stereotypically, you shouldn't have been the girl that had the problem.
Right.
You shouldn't have been the girl that got into drugs. You shouldn't have been the girl that did. You had parents in your
Right.
home. You had parents taking you to church.
Right.
You had all you didn't have any of the markers that would say somebody should be checking on Jenny.
Right. Right.
Yeah. I think we got to get better at that.
I agree.
Okay. So you started drinking.
Yeah.
When did the drug part come in then?
So when I left high school, I went and lived down in Indy, and that's where I started to become introduced to it.
Why'd you go to Indy?
So my sister had just graduated. I wanted to get out, and my sister had just graduated college, so we lived together down there, and I went to school down there. So it was I just wanted to get away from here. I think from everything, I never wanted to come back to Huntington. And I know that's said a lot from people that leave, but for me, it was more so like just wanting to get away from my past and everything that had happened. But when I was down in Indy, I was drinking a lot, obviously, because I'm not healed, you know, and I don't have Jesus in my life. So I think at this point I had my sister's ID. So I was technically 21. Well, really, I was like 28 at that time. But
do you guys look alike? Huh? Do you look alike?
Sort of. Not really. I mean, we do, but like she had, because at that time I had really dark hair and she had really blonde hair in the picture. But people bought it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But so I was going out a lot drinking, and then I ended up moving like in Broad Ripple area, which is, you know, all the bars and everything. So I was really close. And I would just go out, I mean, every night, you know, same thing as what I was basically doing back here. But I eventually ran into a guy, and he sold heroin. So, and I didn't know it at first.
You hadn't done anything before heroin?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So like we were in this, like we had been smoking weed and doing like, we were just doing like random drugs. Like, so my roommate who I lived with, she was, I can't remember the religion she was, but she went to this boarding school. So she was really like sheltered and protected and had never done any drugs or anything. So we were like on an experiment to do like all of them.
Oh my.
Yeah. So when it got to heroin, it was just like, that's where we stopped. But no, we had been doing like stuff before that, but not really like that hard of stuff. Like when I heard him say that that's what he sold, really he made a joke about it because we were using him to buy weed at first. And then we were driving one day and he was like, what would you guys do if I told you I sold heroin? And, you know, we just looked at each other and laughed because at that point it was like, that was such a big word, you know, that was like the word that, like at that point, intervention, like the TV show, that's all I could think about because that's all I knew about heroin at that point. But yeah, and so I think I can't remember at what point, like I started to do it, but he did move into our house, so he was just giving it to us for like rent purposes. So then that's how I became addicted to it.
So it wasn't like the first time you did it, it was like I'm in. Like you weren't addicted right away.
You know, it's really hard. I haven't really thought about that. Like the first time that I did it, I liked it a lot. I don't know. I can't tell you the first time because that's
yeah,
that's
because one of the
though.
things we were talking about, and whether this does or doesn't help listeners, like this is what I'm hearing more and more with parents of high school kids, and honestly, high school kids. Most high school kids that I'm meeting with today or talking with today are all drinking and all smoking pot. Like I would say it's the majority. I would say the majority of kids that talking to their parents or the people that I know, like that's just become a norm. Like it's not that big a deal to drink. Like and that wasn't a big deal before, but now it's not that big a deal to smoke pot either.
Well, that's scary nowadays because I mean everything's laced with fentanyl.
But you know what I mean? Like it's become the accepted, right? So it's like marijuana has just become accepted.
Right.
Pretty soon it's going to be legal in Indiana. What does it really matter? It's way accessible. And honestly, the funny thing is when I was in school, people would drink, but like you just didn't do drugs. Like the bad kids, like even at that point, it was like the bad kids did drugs.
The druggies did drugs.
The alcohol guys were the cool
We were
kids.
cool.
We were the cowboys,
we were
cool
so
guys.
Cool. Yes. Well,
drinking
not
Miller
cowboys.
High Life, you know. But the druggies were the
druggies.
Were the other crowd.
Exactly,
right?
like wearing black and gothic. That's how I remember them.
But today, that's intermingled and doesn't matter.
Right.
Like that has become an accepted thing today. And my question always was to people that are doing is, don't you think that's somewhat of a gateway, right? Is that not a gateway into doing more? Because that's why I ask you. Usually don't go from drinking beer to shooting heroin.
Right. Yeah.
Like those two things tend not to go. There tends to be steps that get you into the places of addiction that are hard to recover from.
Yeah. I mean, I think you experience the feeling of being drunk. And I think if you really like that, like really like it, like you realize that it's a way to like escape your just anything you want escaping. Yeah. I think you will want to go on to look for different things. And that's what I did. So I smoked marijuana and I really liked it. And it just got me thinking that, like, I want to try everything else because I was just interested.
Chasing another numbing mechanism.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've always been really hard with that question. Like, I used to think that it's not a gateway drug, but I think, I don't know. Cause there are people that can smoke it without, no problem, that get it from the doctor, basically. I don't know.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm not trying to make an instance for everything, but I am saying that the more accepted things become, the easier it is to transition. I guess if that's the right terminology. It's just becoming easier to transition into something that's way harder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And
like it's less of a step to get there.
Because it was a big step.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a big step to go from drinking alcohol even to smoking pot.
Yeah.
Like that was a big, and I mean, then if you started doing shrooms, like you were on the whole nother level, and then those people were the acid, the hardcore people back then were shrooms and your little cardboard, drop of acid that you would eat. Like that was hardcore stuff back then. And yeah, I just think that it has led into and made everything, because who would have thought that the amount of people that are experimenting with heroin, like think about it today, like think about the epidemic level of the fentanyl.
Oh yeah. I mean, all heroin today is fentanyl.
Yeah.
You can't find any of it.
Right. I mean, just think about how that's transitioned.
Oh, it's bad.
Like you wouldn't have heard that back in 1991.
Even in like the early
days.
2000s, you wouldn't have even heard of that.
Right.
Even in like 2010, because I remember the first time I went to rehab, like it wasn't even then. So I think the first time I went to rehab was like 2012 or so, 2011. So it wasn't even like a big thing then yet. It was still kind of unspoken of.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you talk through some of because there's tons of stories.
Right.
I mean, you've shared some funny ones.
I know, I've got some really good funny ones.
I feel bad even saying that it's funny.
No, they are though. They really are. I love telling them.
You tell them actually are funny.
Yeah.
Of like some of the things that happened. But what were some low moments of addiction? How about that? Is that like what were some of the low moments?
I think like the most low moments are, I mean, physically, obviously, when you're withdrawing, those are low moments. I mean, those, I guess, are probably most of the moments I think of when I think about using.
Is withdrawal?
Yeah.
Really?
It's really bad. But also, like, the feeling of feeling worthless, the feeling of you just feel like a complete piece of crap. Your life just seems so small, and you always feel guilty about everything, guilty about like the way you're making your parents feel, like missing out on events or just anything. You're always like feeling shameful and guilty. And I think it's all of the negative emotions. I don't think anybody using drugs is really happy at all.
Really?
Like maybe when they're like really high for like an hour, but
there's
like,
always
that's it.
Coming down, chasing the next.
Yeah, and you got to think about it too, like because we're already depressed using drugs, like so if you are using fentanyl or heroin, I don't know if it's serotonin or something, it's depleted from the opiate that makes it harder when you're coming down. It makes it 10 times harder because it's like you don't have. Is it serotonin or is it dopamine? Which one is the medicine? Well, one of them. It's just like it makes you feel.
It's offset. You don't have it. It doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like your emotions are 10 times stronger than what they are.
Right.
So,
can you talk about moments throughout there? Because I know there were different moments where there were interventions or people that tried to lift you out. Were there some like moments where some of those things happened that were good that helped you get back on the journey? Because I know there was some like help, but then you fell back and help fell back. But I think everyone helped in some way. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Like what were some of the things people did to help in the steps of you getting out of drug addiction?
Yeah. Like, although it took me a really long time and a ton of relapses and a ton of jail visits and, just being clean, not clean, it really, like, I always say this, like every single time I either went to jail or rehab or somebody stopped me or something, it was definitely like all for a reason and a purpose. Like most of the times that I have gotten arrested, I truly believe that I would have died if I didn't go to jail. So, for example, one of the times that I had like a like the intervention like type thing, like people coming over, was, I don't know if I've said this on here, but when I just overdosed the night before, and I went home from the hospital, and I fell asleep, whatever, because I was getting ready to leave. I was like mad, so I told my mom, I'm about to leave, blah, blah. So she like called over everybody, like all the women leadership and just everybody, like women in charge at this church. And I wake up and I see KFC. So like they've been there for a minute, okay? Like, because it was like
KFC, like the food.
Yes,
I'm like, can you like somebody's
lunch,
name?
They
KFC.
had lunch and everything. So I wake up and it's like quiet and they're all staring at me. And I'm like, I mean, I fell asleep and nobody was here. Like, you know, so I'm just thinking, what the heck? And I had plans to leave and do something, but they tried to, this is going to sound really dramatic, but it is true and it is real. Like they tried to have an exorcism on me. They truly believed that like what was in me was satanic. And yeah, so that's a whole nother experience, like with church and everything else. Like, yeah.
No, well, let's talk about that for a second.
Okay.
Yeah, because I do think that is sometimes the wrong approach.
Yeah, I wouldn't say anybody getting an exorcism would say that it's a great time.
No, I'm just saying, yeah, I think sometimes the church approaches it in the wrong way.
Right.
I'm not saying your mom or what happened or any of that.
Yeah.
How did it go?
So, I mean, they just at first had asked me if they could pray over me. And I was like, whatever, let's get this over with. Like, yeah, you can pray on me. And then it just started turning weird. And it like lasted, like everybody stayed there after I woke up for about 2 hours, and I was trying to get them to leave the whole time. It ended up towards the end, like, cause I told them no I told them I didn't want to do this. So I walked out of my house and was walking down the road, and they came and like were chasing me. And at that time, my cousin and my aunt drove by, because they wanted to check on me, and my mom told them that they couldn't come over. So they thought that was weird. So they drove by, and then they were arguing about me to the two women that were there. And then they were like grabbing me and pulling me. Like I ended up going to jail with bruises on my arms and everything from that. But what was the question?
So I've heard you say this before, so I don't know how to actually get it out. So there is a right approach and a wrong approach, and I'm not even saying that we all know what it is. But there are some things that happened in your recovery process that turned you off to church, and some things that have turned you on to church. Is that a fair way to say it? You know, so I just wanted you to share, like, I think we need to learn sometimes, like, what is the proper approach to help somebody that is in addiction, that isn't struggling? What is the right way to help them? Because again, I'm not saying anything that your mom or a church did was wrong, but I do think from your perspective, some of that wasn't helpful.
Oh, no. I mean, she knows it, but she has apologized to me since because...
You know, as a mom, I'm sure she's struggling and
Right.
she's trying to figure
She
out
didn't know what to
whatever
do.
she can do.
Sure.
Yeah, you know. It's like,
Yeah, I
how do
couldn't
help
imagine.
my daughter, you know, this is another
Right.
thing I could try that maybe would help
Because
her,
I literally just died. She saw me die, like in the bathroom, because it was a Wednesday night. She was coming home from church. We were just about to go get something to eat because she asked me if I wanted something to eat, and she was coming home. So I went to the bathroom and I did a shot of heroin because at this time I was shooting it, and that's all I remember. I don't remember anything else. But she was calling for me or something, and I wasn't answering or whatever. So she came downstairs, and she had to like physically slam the door open because I had it locked. And I guess I was like on the floor. So she had saw me like dead, basically, is how they describe it. So I'm sure that was a very traumatic experience, seeing your child dead. I mean, because I've been in addiction and I've been around drugs a lot, like I've seen people die but come back and so like, that's not very traumatic to me, but I'm sure it is to like somebody normal, like you guys. But
Well,
anyways,
no, it's not abnormal at all to see somebody dead.
not at all. But anyways, I had said, I was like, that next morning when I got back from the hospital, I threatened to go back and go get some more stuff and shoot up. So in her mind, she was like thinking, oh my gosh, like I'm trying to save her before that happens again.
Yeah.
So had you been in rehab prior to this? Had you ever been to rehab prior to this incident?
Yeah,
Do you remember?
several times.
Several times. Yeah.
Oh yeah, this happened, this was like one of the most recent times. I think no, actually it was 2016 or so. But yeah, I had been arrested multiple times before that. I think at that time I just gotten out of jail. I think I'd only been out like a month at that time. So yeah.
Yeah, so let's
In the
talk
middle of
about
it.
because we're already 45 minutes in. So
Wow, I knew that would happen.
So let's talk about what got you out, and then what are the things that are helping you stay clean, you know, so that we can kind of speak to the audience of not just this is the story, but
Yeah.
Right.
what was the breaking point? What got you out?
The breaking point, man, I just had so many. I think by the time that my last like stint in rehab, I just think at that point I was just tired. You know, I think I was just, I'd been through it. They say like every time you come back from a relapse, like it gets worse, it gets stronger, like something terrible happens than it did before, and that's totally true. So I just think I was totally done. But I had went to the Dream Center at this point, and I don't know if it was just because I had not been that clean. I honestly, and I have a really hard time telling the story because I don't know. It just like,
It just happened.
it just clicked one day. I don't know.
Yeah. So talk about some of the important things in your life today or through that journey that have helped you stay clean, that have helped you stay, because again, I think with every person who's been addiction, there are the struggles, there are still the many relapses, there's still the, like how are you journeying through and what's helping you on your journey today?
So really what helped me like to like completely get that mindset of like wanting to use again was getting far away from it. Like I said, like because I was sober for so long, I think you get like so far away from what used to be that it's not even in your like now or future. So like I'd stopped talking to my old friends. I stopped communicating with all of them, and just, I really don't know. What keeps me sober now today is, this is going to sound so dumb and I know you're going to hate it, but it's my dogs.
No.
I swear.
See, I will like your dogs now. Okay, now I'll like your dogs.
You will?
Yeah.
See? Yes, because so when I relapsed the last time when I was at the cafe, what got me to come back after that month of being out was Grayson, because I couldn't, like at that point in my life, I hadn't had somebody that relied on me. I didn't have a responsibility like that, because my parents threatened to give him away if something happened, or, you know, if something ever happened to me, or if I got kicked out or whatever. So that in the back of my mind, it was like, it wasn't about Jenny anymore. It was about another breathing, living thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so just to show you how much I love you, I will now love your dogs.
Wow.
If your dogs, I will never say another bad thing about your dogs. If your dogs are keeping you clean and healthy,
I mean, family too.
No,
but it's like, I'm not like responsible for my family. I don't know how to even describe it.
It's like your children.
Yeah.
It's like having kids. That now you have a responsibility that if you mess your life up, you've also messed theirs up.
Right. Like I can finally see that, like, if something were to happen to me, like they would be bothered by it. Like they would be affected. I don't know like why it took a dog to change my like perspective, but I was able to like empathize at that point, like with my dog. And then I was able to like think about other people first. Cause when you're in addiction, you don't think about anybody but yourself. You're very self-centered. And I think the farther you get away from it, that's when your brain starts to realize like it's not all about you. But also, if you are using heroin, you have to be like 2 years out of it from using it, and for your brain to get back to normal, because it takes that long for it, especially if you're like a hard user and using for a while, it takes that long for it to get back to normal. So I really wasn't thinking like correctly as I should have been as a normal person whose brain hasn't been affected by the serotonin or whatever it is. But yeah, I just think with time and then having somebody like be responsible for that's what really helped.
Yeah. What are you dreaming about? That's how we'll end.
What am I dreaming about?
What are you dreaming about?
I really want to go to London.
Okay.
Listen, I know I've talked about this before.
Put the voice on.
Huh?
Your voice.
I've talked about this, but wait, I can't do it.
Don't you remember those days, Nick?
Yes.
When she used to put her London voice on?
It's not very good. But no, I really feel like I am supposed to be living in the UK.
Lexi's going to London.
She is?
She's taking a group of students from Grace. They're going to be
They are?
chaperones and a group of students to go to London.
Yeah, I want to go to Scotland, London.
Yeah. That's
So
what
bad.
you're dreaming about.
Yeah, like I just really feel like I'm supposed to live there.
You could probably be a nanny over there. Isn't that where the nanny place is?
What nannies?
Isn't there a TV show about a nanny that's from
Oh,
London?
the Nanny London? Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think that's old.
Oh.
I didn't think she was
I
in
just
America.
think when I think of nannies, I
That's
think
what you
like
think of?
London. Like to go over there and be a nanny. You'd be a perfect nanny.
No.
Huh?
No.
You wouldn't be a good
you would
nanny?
be.
No.
She'd have to take her dogs, though. But,
Absolutely.
yeah. So then what are you doing now? So tell people what you're doing. To
Yeah,
less?
so
And
I mean, I'm still working out at the kennel. So Glinda, the breeder, she fell and broke her arm, her shoulder around Thanksgiving. So I've been out there every single day helping her. And yeah, so I'm doing that a lot. And then I started working, like I was looking into it a little bit while I was still here. And then I just finally was like, whatever, I'm just going to go for it. The digital marketing thing. So I don't really know how to describe this really short because I'm really bad at describing it, but it's kind of like making money online, and it sounds like really scammy and really weird because that's what I thought for the longest time, but it is actually legit because it's like online marketing. It's like building your own business. And so that's what I'm like really learning and working on is marketing stuff and like building your own business. So I'm trying to be an entrepreneur.
Okay. That's exciting.
It's just really hard to carry things out. So I'm a really good vision person. Like I've got all these really good ideas. It's just nobody's helping me do them because, I've got way too many ideas to compare or not like, you know what I mean? Like I've got so many ideas, but not enough action going on.
I told her about my hiking book that I won. She's
and I wanted to help her.
Brought it, so I need to bring that.
Which book?
Well, so I want to hike every trail in Indiana.
Okay.
So Eric bought me a couple books, but they're just not exactly what I want. And so I was telling her about it, and she's like, "Oh, that would be cool. I could do it for every state." I mean,
yes, because that's something. Because also like digital marketing, like with digital products, and you can sell them. So literally, like anybody can be a digital marketer because, like. You could do it for being a pastor. Like you could, okay, whatever. I'm just saying you could. And you could create like ebooks and you could like sell them. But like it's, but
that's
for
why
her,
you hire people like Nick.
That's true. That's true.
You take
No, if you
what
wanted
you're
to
good
personal
at.
brand yourself, that's what it is.
I want to what?
Like personally brand yourself is what I'm saying. But no, with digital products, she could create and sell on Etsy. Like
I am not.
Well, I could create
anything.
Well, that's right. I said I would.
You could
but like each state, and then have like a spot where you would fill in like where it is, like the state parks in all of the states. So then you would buy that, and then that would be your goal to go to each one.
You could cross them all off and say, I did this one and this one and this one, and they just don't. They don't have that.
Create it and make money.
Find it.
Yeah.
PDF form.
So.
It's genius because you just create it once, and then you can sell it as many times as you want. Genius.
No,
you don't have to worry about like
trust you.
nothing like the actual physical product or anything. I'm telling you, it's really mind blowing. I'm just not giving.
Well,
it
Jenny,
enough credit.
we love you.
Thank you.
Always.
Love you too.
Yeah, always miss seeing you around, but praying for your future and all the things that God has, because I still believe this with all my heart. Like God is using you, is going to continue to use you, praying for your platform, clear back to 2 years ago, and I said, what are you dreaming about? And you said, I want a platform to share my story, to change the lives of people. Still praying for your platform, still praying, because I do. I think your life, your energy, who you are, has the ability to help people who in life have been through and are struggling through things. And I think your story and your personality is something that can help that. Praying for a good man. We'll continue to pray for a man because you deserve one.
Thank you.
You deserve a great man to take care of you, but I mean, I think you know this. I mean, we love you, and we're going to continue to pray for you.
Are you going to cry?
Maybe.
No, I mean, I've always said that.
Yeah,
I've always
that's
said
true.
that. Like, you always hold a special place in my heart, and I will always. And I'm thankful for you, and we're super thankful that you came on, and thankful that we get to be a part of your journey, and being able to check in and.
Thanks.
Yeah. Anything to add, Jennifer?
Now that I'm crying. Yeah. I do miss you too. It's good to see you in Champs periodically and at the cafe, and you just have an energy about you. And, when Mike said, a platform, I could just see you going to schools and telling your story, being one of those speakers, because I think kids need to hear that. It's like, this is what could happen. I mean, you have a lot of things that can benefit, young people and stuff. And I just thank you for kind of courage today to say some stuff that maybe you hadn't said before. And you're doing great. And
thank you.
Just keep seeking God and all the things that you're doing. And he does. He's got a good plan for you. So
Thanks, guys.
So once this comes out, make sure you like, comment, or share, because it'll go out on social media. That way we can get it on lots of people's platforms. I'm going to tell you to come to second service, because that's when Jenny's going to start coming to and ask around, see if you can find her anywhere.
Yeah.
Or if you go...
Where's Waldo?
Yeah, or like if you go to the cafe on Thursdays and Sunday mornings.
It just really varies. I'll be there for Easter. I'm working Easter.
I thought you don't work here every Thursday?
I used to, but now she switches it up for whenever she needs me. Yeah.
Either way, if you come into the cafe, say hi. When you see Jenny, you will never see her at the 9 o'clock service.
No.
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 But, yeah.
Not unless I was
whatever the later service is, come find Jenny. She's clear in the back. Stage.
Wherever Courtney's sitting, that's where I am.
Yeah. Make sure you come up and say hi and encourage her in her walk. So thanks everybody for joining us. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.